Start with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, under the consent agenda items, we have our items A and B, regular meeting minutes of March 4th and special meeting minutes of March 14th.
I move we accept regular meeting minutes March 4th and special meeting minutes March 14th.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Action items A, B, and C. Payment of general fund vouchers in the amount of $9,663.15. Payment of payroll vouchers in the amount of $17,459.87. And payment of water fund vouchers, $602.82.
I'll make a motion to approve action items A, B, and C.
Motion has been made
Second?
and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Commissioner reports. Anybody want to start?
Sure. Attended the regular meeting and the special meeting, and then I also attended the Mason County Law Enforcement Breakfast last Friday. It was very interesting.
Judy?
Of course, I did the regular report meeting and the special meeting, and then March 8th I did the PRTPO, Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization. We've had several meetings this month, mostly because we are trying to still go over the interlocal agreements and the bylaws to hire Kitsap Transit to be our lead agency. So Kitsap Transit hired an attorney to rewrite the interlocal agreement and the bylaws. So we've been having quite a few meetings to do that. We're getting closer, got through the interlocal agreements. Now we have to finalize those and then work on the bylaws. March 13, 14, 20, and 28 did the Oyster House fundraising meetings. Thank you, Dan, for being involved in that. And our event is this Saturday. Please attend.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And then March 25th, North Mason Community Voice. We had Abe Gardner of the Mason County Public Health Opioid Response. He spoke about the program and the progress and introduced his worker. And there's an article that Dana had written, which was very good, so that's why I brought this about it. And let me see, it was well attended, and it was really good information. There we go.
Yes. Regular report meeting, special meeting for me. I did attend the Economic Development Council meeting, their monthly board meeting. I did have a sidebar conversation with Kristen Masteller, and we talked about water systems, and she said that her and one of her staff members would be more than happy to come to a port special meeting and discuss water systems from a PUD perspective. And I told her we could talk about that and invite them and do that. All right, that's all I had. So security officers report, excused absence with a
Travis is out of town, but his report was in your meeting documents.
Just go to that real quick. I might have breezed over it.
Does it need to be read, or we just need to read it?
I just want to
Look
see
at
if
it?
there's any questions.
Yeah, there's nothing
Regarding the report.
critical in there. At least I don't remember
So
anything.
the Hoffman's boat is at the Allyn
Right.
dock.
That's the one
And they
that's
caught
still-
up?
Yes and no.
They caught up from before, but
We need him to come back and give us his credit card number again. But he agreed to pay it. We just have to get him back here and get the number.
oh, great. Okay, executive director's report.
All right. Water system issues. We have a public hearing scheduled for tonight on the proposed new water rates on the 5-year schedule that you all requested, and we discussed at the March 14th special meeting. The new rates require a change to the Water System Policies and Procedures Manual, which didn't previously spell out any specific rates. These changes do not have to be approved by the state, but do have to be made in a public meeting. If you choose to accept the changes to the Policies and Procedures Manual, you will need to approve Resolution 398, which is on the agenda. We recently issued water availability letters for 15 lots situated between Wheelwright and Blackwell Streets to Cedarland Homes, but have not heard anything more on this. We also had an inquiry from Housing Kitsap about water availability for a plat they are considering purchasing for self-help home projects like the one they've built in Kitsap County. The Eric Community Utilities proposal, as we've discussed previously, we've had some informal discussions with the Eric Community Utilities to purchase their water system, which is adjacent to ours. After discussing this with Mr. Carey, we've decided the best path to begin moving forward is to have their system appraised. However, I have not yet found an appraiser. There's also money available from the state to do acquisitions that combine small water systems. Doug Peel gave me a couple of potential leads as well as some names to contact for this, but so far no one has returned any of the calls I've made to them, and I haven't had time to follow up with them. Property purchase. We received the appraisal back this week, but it isn't anywhere near what the asking price was. So now we have to enter into negotiations with the seller and see where it goes. I've had some discussions with the seller and have a better idea of what they will accept, and am convinced we can make this work one way or another. In the meantime, I did the final grant presentation at RCO last Wednesday. I felt it went well, and I actually got a nice text message from Kim Sellers afterwards about what a good job I did presenting. The decision is scheduled to be made on what gets funded on April 24th, and if we do get the grant, it will fund in August. However, we may have to front the purchase price and be reimbursed from the grant. Dock issues. As reported earlier, during the January windstorm, we suffered some serious damage to the floating dock portion below the gangway. Some of the flotation had separated from the dock surface, and appears some of the support beams may have been seriously damaged as well. I contacted Endurus, and they sent an adjuster out to inspect the damage. We insisted they get a diver to look under the surface, as we suspect there may be more damage under the water than what's visible on the surface. They also sent an engineer with the diver, who was here on March 25th. The engineers requested documentation on when the dock was originally built and any subsequent repairs and/or alterations. He hinted there may be an issue of the dock having fulfilled what he called its useful life, which could potentially negatively impact our insurance coverage, which we got a renewal notice for today. In the meantime, we've closed the dock at the gangway until the damage is repaired. We've taken photos to document everything as well. Previously reported we had a small electrical fire on the dock. While Endurus originally rejected this claim, again using the useful life excuse, the adjuster disagreed, and we received a check for $38.55.38 to cover the damage. That's the amount of the bid from Mason Electric minus our $1,000 deductible. Company that maintains the Santa Sailor, it says, may repair most of the damage at no cost to us. They were actually out here today and did that. So, parking at the North Shore. I met with Dave Smith from the county in response to my letter requesting a lower speed limit approaching the boat launch on the North Shore. With tow vehicles and trailers crossing the road there, coupled with limited sight distances to the west, just makes good sense to slow the traffic down right there if at all possible. Dave was very helpful, but hinted in a follow-up email they want to study some issues surrounding that. He also doesn't see a need to lower the speed limit all year. We discussed doing it from May 1 through Labor Day, which could be workable for us. I'm working on the issue of cutting the trees there. As I reported earlier, Earl Eddings offered to do it in exchange for the wood. Commissioner Cooper brought up the question of that qualifying as a public works project or not. I checked with both the state auditor's office and the attorney, and he was correct. It is considered a public works project. The attorney suggested we just trade invoices and checks so we have a paper trail for the auditor. In talking to Earl about that, he was good with that, but asked if he could bid on the entire project. I told him to submit a bid and we'd take a look at it. So far I haven't received anything. Permit has been approved, however. It was issued to Zephyrs, not us, since they were going to be the contractor. We have a bid from them for $71.62 to remove the old culvert, install 2 new culverts, grade the lot after the trees are cut, and bring in some rock. County also said we can use 12-inch culverts instead of 18-inch ones the bid was for, which will save us a little money. The only other cost I can see will be a couple of $100 for signage directing boaters where to park and establishing the ingress and egress pattern. If the county does lower the speed limit, we may have to pay for signage for that. I originally guesstimated the project would cost us around $7,500, so except for the tree cutting issues, we're right in the ballpark. I found out this may qualify for RCO money, but we didn't decide to do it till after the grant cycle had closed. However, I have a call into Kim Sellers at RCO to see if I could ask for a waiver of retroactivity and submit it next year. If we could pursue that, RCO would reimburse us 75% of the cost. I'm just not sure at this point if it qualifies until I talk to her. Damage to the port's truck. Someone hit the port truck in the parking lot at McClendon's when Don was inside and broke out one of the taillights. Of course, they didn't stick around to take responsibility. There's no other damage other than the broken lens, so I called around to see about getting it fixed. The best deal was Port Orchard Auto Body, so I told them to order the part and call me when it came in. The day it did, I drove the truck home, stopped by there on the next morning, and they replaced it in about 10 minutes. They only charged us for the part and not any labor. Total was $223.48, including tax. Security issues. I've asked Don to install sharps containers in all the restrooms here and at the kayak park. We're dealing with more and more discarded syringes than ever before, and I believe we need to take steps to attempt to protect both our staff from harm as well as the general public. We've restricted the hours the restrooms are open in an attempt to minimize this, but it's still a growing problem. Also, I'm looking into the cost of what it will take to install some kind of high-resolution wireless remote camera system here at the park. There are systems available that will transmit images to cell phones from multiple cameras and store them for downloading if necessary for law enforcement documentation. I'm hoping to be able to set up about a half a dozen cameras for under $1,000. More on this as I learn more. As an aside to that, I just put one in at my house personally and it works well. So, 3D building acquisition, as I reported previously, the 3D building on Highway 3 that WashDOT used for offices during the widening project is for sale. I inquired about a governmental transfer, as I think this would make an ideal co-working facility, and it's already laid out for something similar. WashDOT said they couldn't do it unless we had some kind of transportation-related use in mind for it. So I contacted all our legislators, as I was sure there was some way to make this happen. I heard back from Senator Sheldon. He said WashDOT wasn't being very cooperative, so we'll have to see what happens. If we want it, we may be able to buy it in a bid situation according to Senator Sheldon, but at this point I'm not too optimistic about acquiring it for free. Derelict vessels. We have unfortunately been forced to deal with a couple of derelict vessel issues over the past month. Out on the North Shore, we have one on-again, off-again customer who owes us for several months as well. He's one of these guys who's always run up a bill but paid us, only this time he didn't. He came in this morning and paid some of it and gave us post-dated checks for the rest of it. Totem pole issue, nothing new to report on this. WPPA and other meeting schedules. The WPPA spring meeting is May 15th to 17th at the Davenport Hotel in Spokane. WPPA Finance Seminar is June 12th to 14th at Alderbrook, and the annual Commissioner Seminar will be January 22nd to 24th at Suncadia. The Executive Director Seminar is July 11th to 12th at Skamania Lodge, and the Environmental Seminar is September 26th and 27th at Campbell's Lodge in Chelan. As these get closer, we'll ask for commitments about attendance so we can make reservations. Employee issue. After looking at our workload and the way it's increasing due to the grants we're processing and the projects we have underway, I'm asking the Commissioner to make Leanne a full-time employee. She's been a part-time employee for the past 18 years, and the workload has grown significantly during that time. She's currently budgeted for 100 hours per month. The difference between our budget for that position, including salary, taxes, and retirement, and what it will cost for her to work 160 hours per month is $87.73 annually. That's totally all costs. Based on what we can charge to our grant-funded projects for administration, we can easily recoup this cost. Additionally, once the marina project is complete, we'll have both additional work dealing with guest boaters as well as additional revenue from them. Also, we'll be installing a pay station here at Allyn as part of the project, which will generate additional revenue from launch and parking fees. While I don't expect it to be as dramatic an increase as what we saw on the North Shore, there should be an increase of some sort. There should be some sort of measurable increase. I'm sorry, can't read my own writing here. Also, when the water system grows, we'll have both additional work as well as additional revenue. We'll also have a lot of routine work like filing and archiving that falls through the cracks because she isn't here to do it. Her bookkeeping responsibilities with bias have grown, and with summer coming, there's more work and more customers for the gazebo and other things. Finally, we had this discussion when I first started here 4 years ago, but Leanne wasn't in a position to work full-time. She is now, so with this in mind, I'm going to ask her to provide some additional detail.
All right. Well, he pretty much said it, but the filing, labeling, all of that stuff just does slip through the cracks. I get the meat done, but I don't mash the potatoes. Let's see. A lot of this stuff, if an auditor came in here, I couldn't find it for him fast. It wouldn't be pretty. And usually I'm really good with all of that. And the customers are suffering too because they come in and I'm just hectic and scrambled. So they need, I need to get organized and stay organized and just have the time to do that. It's a lot different than 18 years ago when I balanced one checking account and the petty cash, I'm surprised I've kept up so much. But gazebo rentals, if I have more time to market that and work with people, I think that'll help. I think that'll bring in some more revenue. The bookkeeping, yes, I've gone from the petty cash to everything. Chief Financial Officer by default. Education. I come across these tutorials and stuff that are free through the state, and I want to watch them, and I don't have time. And it's a lot of the new stuff like the PFML and, the payroll things. Let's see. Oh, yes, the emailing. We have this nice little email list I put together, but yet I never have any time to send anything or make it. Besides, I need to clean my desk.
What about office hours? We'd be open Monday through Friday.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, I think you have to let the state know that you're changing office hours and whatever else that would entail. But yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
And,
Yeah, that would be better.
that
for
would
the
be nice for
community.
people too.
yeah, well, there would be somebody here on days that there normally isn't somebody here.
Right.
which is Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and I know.
Yeah,
Larry
that's the
said that
days, if I have stuff to do out of the office, I try to schedule them those days because we're not
she's
open.
here, yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
gets interrupted by people wanting an annual pass and
Yeah.
things like that,
And I remember when we tried, and I think it was before Larry got here, but we were talking about making you full-time when Rusty was here.
Yeah,
And why didn't we do it then? Was it because you weren't available to do it?
pretty much.
Because you had two other
Yeah,
jobs?
Yeah, yeah. And I've cut back, I've only got 2 jobs now, so. Yeah, the one in Tacoma, that took a lot of time, and yes, I was working that, doing payroll for 20-something people over there, so I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can manage to get the dentist stuff done, because we work extra hours for meetings or whatever here, so
Okay.
I can still take care of that office.
I mean, that's your decision, you're just letting us know? I mean,
It's on the agenda if you all want to
Okay,
discuss
sure.
it. So,
all
but-
right. Thanks, Lena.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
Right.
if you want to do old business, I'll go
I-
into my reports on those
I
things.
just wanted to, a couple things under your report, because I don't know that it'll be on old business. I ran into Earl, and he is interested in bidding on that project. He has not received any plans, and I was not certain that there was plans, or he
All there
needs-
is that drawing that I did for the county for the permit.
So he needs whatever it is. He
Okay,
wants
I'll
to
go
bid
ahead.
on it, and he needs whatever it is that
I'll send it to him before the meeting's over.
documentation, okay.
Does he have to be on the MRSC?
And he is.
He is on
register?
it.
Okay, good.
I asked him about that, and he is on it.
Okay.
And he's also owner-operator, so
Mhm.
he can do things a little bit
More efficiently.
cheaper than prevailing wage.
Mhm.
Do you mind if I jump in?
Please do.
I have a question on the sharps container. Where are we going to be taking the needles?
I asked Don to check with the health department about what the proper disposal method is for them. And I don't know that, this just came up Friday, so I'm not
Right.
sure if he spent the day down on the dock with the guy from the Santa Sailor, so I'm not sure he got to it today.
One thing that Abe Gardner had mentioned too is that every Thursday, there's a mobile unit in Belfair that takes sharps.
Oh, okay.
So-
you can take them over there.
Do
And
you know
I-
anything about that, Scott?
We send people to QFC because they'll
Mhm.
take an amount, but I can find out about
Yeah.
the mobile unit.
Yeah, and so that might be an option too.
Okay.
And there's another thing. There's a library up in King County that's installing blue lights in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because with the blue light, it's tougher to find a vein in your arm.
I saw that.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know how the blue lights would work in our bathroom, but I could do some research and look and see.
That's a good idea.
But
Yeah.
if it makes it tougher to somebody stick a needle in their arm, might send them someplace
It might
else.
be just a case of switching out light bulbs or something.
I'll check, see what
Okay.
that is.
Okay. Any other questions?
None for me.
I'm ready for old business.
All right, transient mortgage expansion projects. We have all the final paperwork in hand from the Department of Commerce, finally, so we can get this out to bid as well as get reimbursed for our expenses up to this point, which are over $20,000. I'm sending out bid invitations to qualified contractors on the MRSC Small Works roster tomorrow. There's also Resolution 399 required by the Department of Commerce on the agenda for adoption concerning the Small Works roster process. We need to have this approved before we can send the project out to bid. Sweetwater Park, not much to report on this. Dr. Peterson is in the process of removing the structures and other debris from his property there. I asked him when it'll be ready to be fenced, but I haven't heard back yet.
We did get the deed for that, correct?
No, we have not gotten the deed for it yet. We got the final paperwork from RCO, but
Mhm.
we have not seen a recorded deed from anyone. And I put in a call to the school district about it and to RCO, and no one has gotten back to me.
Okay,
Because I knew that question was going to come up.
yep.
So,
Well, we can't really do anything until it's recorded.
I know. I'm just trying to get ahead of stuff there.
Yep.
Oyster House, the draft house budget had $218,000 in it for this project, but there was nothing included in the draft Senate budget. Meanwhile, the House budget didn't fund the North Bay Historical Society $160,000 request, while the Senate budget did. In talking to the lobbyists, they feel they'll get something when it's all said and done. Since they've been in constant contact with Representative Griffey, who has made this his #1 project, they suggested I also talk to Senator Sheldon and Representative McEwen, asking them to try and get the $218,000 in. Senator Sheldon didn't respond, but Representative McEwen did and said, "We will get both budgets lined up, and I'm confident it will be in the final conference budget." So now we wait.
The
And I-
218?
Both of them? Both of them?
218.
Oh, just the
Yeah,
218.
he said he's confident it'll be in both.
Okay.
Um,
But the
But not
160
both grants.
also?
we don't know. Don't know. I'm more concerned about the 218 than I am the 160.
Yeah.
Also, I've been forwarding the lobbyist reports to you all as I get them.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate that, I saw that.
criminalization of marina rules, nothing's happened on this. However, after the all ports meeting, I think if we press this issue in conjunction with the other ports, we may get somewhere. Because of all the other things going on, I haven't really had the time to pursue that since, but we should be able to work on it shortly. Kitsap All Ports Association, next Kitsap All Ports meeting is April 29th.
We were gonna do a Mason all ports once a quarter.
Right. And Port of Shelton said they would have the next one at their place.
Should I reach out to them, or do you want to?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Our last one was January, right? So it should be coming up soon.
Yes, I think sometime in April.
Any questions under old business?
I have it down on the 29th.
Yeah, did we pick a date?
For all ports.
But
April?
that's- but that's
Kitsap
the
All
Kitsap
Ports is
All
April
Ports.
29th.
Oh,
Fine.
there you go. Okay, under new business, we have the public hearing on proposed changes to the water system policy and procedure manual. So at this time, I would like to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing. Larry?
I have in your meeting packets put the changes to the policies and procedures manual. Changes are in red.
Yes.
And you had said.
I didn't see any point in printing or doing the entire manual
'Cause that
because
was
it's just one section of it that's impacted.
What was 70 pages, you said?
The entire manual.
Okay. And so we have the changes
You have the-
available
yeah.
if people want it. Is anybody here to testify on the new water rates?
Don't we have to have a public hearing?
Hmm?
Don't we have to have a public hearing?
We're in it,
As we're in it.
yes.
Recessed and went back in?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we've recessed out of the regular meeting and we're in the public hearing.
Okay. So we're still in new business.
You mean for testimony?
Yeah,
I think that's what we do in public hearings.
okay.
You got a comment?
Quick question.
Sure.
You were talking about rates, is that the same as this extension, like the extension agreement and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's all included in there.
I have questions, but I'm not all the way through it, and I'll just call Larry and find out, I mean, it is what it is, we're going to be.
And this is, we had a special meeting, we talked about it in January, and then we talked about it again in February, and then we had our special meeting last month. And it kind of finalized everything, we had some changes for Larry. And,
Right.
I can explain about the extension agreement if you want.
If you don't mind.
No.
Please.
If we do any extension of the lines, there can't be any latecomer agreement or newcomer agreement. It is considered a public work. If we allow the developer to do it, which we put in these changes,
Right.
they will pay us $1,500 per connection. We have to do the connection from the end of their line to where it taps into our line. That's a public work and has to be done at prevailing wage. But if we let the developer do the rest of it, they can have a newcomer agreement. But if we do the work, we cannot, the way the law is written.
Okay, go back to a couple lines, where you talked about connecting to the end user, to the distribution, I'll call it distribution packet.
Right.
You said that was only on a public works?
That's the only part of it's a public work, doing that connection.
So if the owner has, in my case, like 10 lots,
Right.
we're bringing the service into, distribution-wise, but you're saying still that connection to those individual lots, even though the developer and that landowner might be one and the same, you still have to go through the,
Yeah, we have to do the connection to the main distribution line from whatever line they run.
okay.
But they can run the rest of it,
No,
and they can participate in a newcomer agreement.
Right. Okay. So in the extension, you have like for developments, like 1,500 per lot. That's it, we're doing it, or that's,
That's if a developer does it.
okay. So,
You know, plus they still have to pay the connection fee and everything,
Right.
but it still ends up being cheaper than paying prevailing wage to get that work done.
Yeah, no, that way. So if I remember seeing in here, and I realize it changes in years out in the rates, but talking from, say, June 1st, and I understand all the the water consumption ones and all those base ones, all the way out, so I'm in the know there, I'm fine. But on the connection fee, where I think you went up to like 4,700,
Right.
so, see, I'm remembering other, other things I read, and of course, this is now more finalized. So, there's a 4,700, there's a 1,500, if we do provide the distribution line.
Right.
But then there's an individual connection to each lot over and above all this.
If the developer provides a distribution
Right.
line, it's $1,500 per connection
Right.
for doing that, plus the $47.50 connection fee.
Okay. Got it.
And we established a commercial connection fee, which we didn't have before.
Okay. Right.
And everything else is the same.
But pretty much everything's residential,
Right.
so that's why I'm asking the more the residential side of the picture, but.
Well, I figured while we're doing this, we only wanted to do it once.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I see you have the factors, the factor rates for commercial mainly. And I'm assuming that's the multiple that you use against these different, when you have a factor like whatever it was, like 2 or whatever it was for a certain size line, like a 1 inch where you had 2.5.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like 2.5 times.
Yeah, the bigger the line, the more it is.
No, but I'm saying in the connection fee, it'd be 2.5 times the 47.50
Right.
or 2.5 times the 1,500 per lot. Okay.
No, the 1,500 per lot is static.
That's that, okay.
Yeah.
So that factoring only applies to that. And then one last question, which is like 180 degrees the other way, is that there was that capital facility charge,
Right.
and is that related to buying new systems, or your system as it is, or?
That's not addressed in there at all.
Or I
The capital facilities charge, are you talking about for when we get up over a certain height? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
And maybe I missed it.
I'm not sure what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I can appreciate that. Good enough. On,
Yeah, I ran across that. I'll see if I can find it too.
okay, on
Yeah,
section.
let me open it up.
I got it under
too.
section 4.
Yeah, at the end there of that section, it says future capital facilities charges.
Yeah, let me find it
Yeah,
here.
no problem.
Here we go. Open it up here. Are you talking about the application for the line extension? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
The capital surcharge?
The future capital surcharges,
It's at the end of section 4.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me go back here.
It seems like there's a button,
Oh, I see.
it seems
Okay.
like there should be material ahead of it or after, or something, because it just kind of comes right out there. I mean, I understand the concept, but just, I'm not following where numbers are coming from.
This was part of the original water plan.
Oh.
No changes in there.
Yeah, there's no changes in that. We didn't make any changes.
Okay.
But that was part of the original plan that
So-
Northwest Water System did.
Okay, so, okay. Don't know quite how to apply that one yet, but I mean, I understand what it is, I wasn't sure.
Where and when
I
it
probably missed an
applies.
opportunity to make some money.
Yeah. I was getting scared here. I was getting scared. Because, like, with, up in Lakewood, up off of Cedar Street, they do have like a capital facilities charge factored into our monthly rates. So that's what I was asking.
Do you know what that rate is? Just curious?
Six something, $6 and some odd cents a month,
It's on my bill too.
across 60 or so users, something like that.
Anything else? Any discussion? So I'll close the public hearing and open the regular meeting back up. And now we can have discussion of proposed water system policy procedure manual changes. Any discussion?
Nope, I got one of my questions answered because
Yeah,
of the discussion, so.
The discussion that I was having with Kristen from PUD1, I told her what our rates were going to, and she goes, wow, you guys are really cheap compared to their systems. Well, we're not.
Well, you all said you didn't want to balance the cost of everything on the backs of 14 customers.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's why we strung it out the way
Right.
we did.
And I guess just for the record, we'll be having a price increase June 1st of 2019 and then January 1st of 2020.
So what we need is a motion to accept the changes to the policies and procedures manual for the water system.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposed changes to the water system policy and procedures manual.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Discussion on increasing, anything else on water?
No, that's it.
Okay. Discussion on increasing hours for the operations manager with potential action.
Do you all have any heartburn about me increasing Leanne's time here?
I think we should. That's my personal opinion. If we can afford it, we can find ways to pay for.
I believe we really need to do it, so.
Well, my opinion is that grant management takes a lot of time.
It does.
So, and hopefully with the lobbyists, we're not looking at a one-time grant for the Oyster House, we're looking at other grants. So you need somebody here to review those things, stay on top of those things. So I have no problem whatsoever.
The amount of time I spend on that just eats my time alive, so.
Yeah, and I think we
Because
had,
of crossing every T and dotting every I.
I think we had the same discussion at least 2 years ago and maybe 4 years ago, and the reason we didn't, she wasn't full-time was because she couldn't do it. We felt the need back then. The need is even more evident now, so.
Excuse me.
And for everything you said and everything you said, I would agree.
Well, I move that we increase, or you don't need a motion, just
Not
go for
really.
it, right?
No, I think it's, you're just letting us know, and
Thank you.
we agree. And thanks, Leanne,
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
thank
18 years of part-time service.
Yeah.
And now,
You get a plaque for that?
yeah,
See you tomorrow.
that's right. Next is the discussion of insurance proposal for Colonial Life. And
That was in your
Yep.
meeting documents.
I would agree that anything new to our budget at this point is probably, if it's something we are interested in doing, it should be proposed in August for the 2020 budget. Just trying to see the last thing. So it's basically Aflac, right?
It's the same kind of
Aflac
thing, yeah.
for
Right,
Colonial
just
Life.
different company. This just came out of the blue, so I said I'd put it on the agenda.
I'd like to wait on this.
Yeah, I would too. I'd like more,
Okay.
I have more questions and stuff, so I'd like to wait.
I agree.
All right. No action on that. And then we have adoption of Resolution 399, defines the small works roster bidding process. But is that something from, I think, where did I see that? Is it on here?
Yeah,
Yes.
it
Oh, there
is.
it is, 399. I thought there was something on here.
It's a long,
We're not
Isn't
reading
three
this.
ninety-eight,
resolution.
was that the water policy one?
Yeah, which one is 398?
that's the small works roster, 399.
399.
But
That's
what's
the one the
398?
Department of Commerce requires that we adopt.
I know, but what one was 398?
That's the water system.
That was the water
Oh,
system.
okay, gotcha. Did we actually need to vote on that?
Yes.
Resolution, okay. Well, I move that we accept Resolution 399. Do I need to read the whole thing?
Let's not. We'll make it
Yeah,
available
it's
for
about
anybody to
6 or
read.
7 pages.
I read
There's
it.
copies in the packets back
Okay.
there too for the audience.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion and a second on the adoption of Resolution 399. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So we have a resolution for 398.
Yeah, you basically adopted the changes, you just didn't adopt it as a resolution. So.
We probably formally need to do
Probably,
that.
I believe, I
however.
was just gonna
Yeah.
say, I believe you do.
Well, I move that we accept Resolution number 398.
I'll second.
Just want to look real quick.
I will read the first part. The resolution of the Port of Allyn Commission on the subject of revising the policies and procedures manual for the Port of Allyn water system, setting rates and amending terms and conditions for the development and growth for the Port of Allyn water system. And there's a whole bunch of whereas.
So I have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 398. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And that's it under new business. Anything else from the commissioners?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Chief.
please do.
The criminalization of marina rolls, I grabbed Kevin Schutte after the law enforcement breakfast and said that's something we got to get done. And there was a gentleman there from the Port of Grapeview who also grabbed him and said, this is something we got to get done. Do you want all the ports to gang up? And Kevin said, hey, just write up what you were doing and we'll get it done. So
Great.
That's great.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Ted.
I just want to make sure everybody comes to the fundraiser this coming Saturday. Tickets are $20 and I brought tickets. You already bought some.
And I paid you.
Yeah, you did.
But I didn't tell Leanne that I paid you because I paid you.
We've been
We're
making
getting
phone
lots
calls.
of auction items, over
Good.
40. People keep donating more stuff. Of course, there'll be oyster stew, clam chowder, desserts, chicken, garlic chicken, trying to think of what else. Oh, and Bent Vine Brew is going to have their beer there, and then also with the meal will be either beer or the Sergeant Oyster House wine.
Which is good.
Yeah,
All right,
so there you go.
public comment.
Hi, sir.
Dana?
Welcome.
No. Any public comment? No? Jeff?
No, you got my question.
All right.
We got wrapped up in, so we're there.
Anything in the back there? Public comment? No? No? Okay. Yes, it is April Fool's Day. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have a
If there-
good of the
oh,
order
to
thing.
order. Yeah, go ahead.
Just on a personal note,
Mhm.
my company, Wet Apple Media, has been in business 40 years today.
No kidding.
Oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Wow, that's awesome.
I picked this day intentionally.
Oh, I do have a good of the order. April 27th, I think that's a Saturday, the last Saturday is a Tahuya Forest Cleanup Day, and I'm feeding everybody who shows up. It'll be chili, hot dogs, and all kinds of goodies, so. That's out at Oak Patch, the old Oak Patch campground, which is off of Evandale Pass Road, just past Billman. Okay?
Yeah.
Jeff, when is the next tip cap?
Oh. I didn't, there was nothing new to report, so that's why I didn't give it. Next tip cap meeting?
Yeah.
A week from this Wednesday. We're usually the second Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, another good of the order, because TIPCAP will be at the North Mason Community Voice in May,
Right.
giving their presentation. Michelle Brighton from WashDOT is coming April 22nd to talk about the freight mobility corridor, Belfer bypass.
Right.
So there we go.
All
That's all I
right.
have.
Move to adjourn.
Second,
Meeting adjourned.
or was it already?